Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Experience Age, 4 ways you can win in a mobile-driven economy. That is the title of today's webinar, brought to you by Stay in Touch. I'm your host, Frigola, and I'm joined by our speaker today, founder and CEO of Stay in Touch, Yas Shop. Yas has a 20-year track record in hotel software technology. He began Stay in Touch with a vision of reinventing the hotel PMS technology, making it simple, mobile, and transitioning the software to the cloud. Prior to Stay in Touch, Yas spent 17 years at Microsystems, now Oracle Hospitality, as a senior vice president in charge of global product development and strategy for lodging and e-commerce divisions. During his tenure, Micro's hospitality products became a global market leader, growing the company's revenues from less than $300 million to $1.1 billion. Yas was responsible for introducing a number of new products enabling Micros to enter all hospitality segments from limited to full-service hotels. So I'll quickly run through the agenda and we'll get started. Yas will begin his presentation by discussing how the average consumer has changed since the introduction of the smartphone. We'll then address how to enhance the guest stay with increased mobile touchpoints, how to simplify big data to better personalize the guest journey, and how equipping your staff with mobile access greatly improves the front of house and back of house relationship, and thus the guest experience. And finally, Yas will wrap up with a bit of advice on finding the right mobile solutions for your property. We'll then get to the audience questions and comments thereafter, but of course, we encourage you to send in your questions at any point of the webinar discussion, and we'll get to them at the end. So let's get started. Before I turn it over to Yas, I'd like our audience to take part in 2 polls. The first, I'm going to put that up and launch the poll now. In your hotel, who is the primary decision maker on which tech solutions are deployed? Give you guys about 30 seconds to go ahead and make a selection, and then we will launch the results. Right, about 10 seconds to go here. Closing the poll now and sharing the results. In your hotel, who is the primary decision maker on which tech solutions are deployed? 57% said hotel owners, operators, 43% said general managers, 29% revenue manager, and this is actually multiple choice, so some of you guys have selected more than one answer here, and then the IT team coming in. In 4th position, no one said other, so that's a good thing. We'll know exactly who to reach out to and hopefully how to move you along during this discussion. With that said, let's go on to the next question. With the exception of Wi-Fi, how well does your property take advantage of mobile technology? Again, I'll give you guys about 30 seconds here. About 10 seconds to go, and we'll launch the results. All right, closing the poll now and sharing the results. With the exception of Wi-Fi, how well does your property take advantage of mobile technology? 0% said we provide a great mobile experience to guests with options. 33% said we don't have any mobile options, and 67% say we have options but need to do better to compete. And that is exactly why we are here today. With that said, we will turn it over to our speaker, Yas Shop. Go ahead, Yas.
Thanks, Free. So thanks everybody for joining today. I'm trying to get over a bit of a cold, so excuse me for a few hiccups here and there while talking. I'm probably going to need about 25 to 30 minutes to get through the presentation. I wanted to start it off with not necessarily talking right away product, but more talk in general about what's going on in the world of things, the Internet of Things, ourselves. You know, as you can see here, this gentleman is looking out the window, and you see a beautiful three-letter word that says "You have changed." And what we mean with that is we all have changed. Basically, I think in the last 10 years, the digital life has altered our expectations of every experience and interaction. So this is not only hotels, but in general, you as a consumer, you as a guest, you as a hotel owner, you have definitely changed in the way you use technology, and I want to think forward. The information age is also over. What that means is, it doesn't mean that information has gone or that has left us, and that computers are gone. It really means more than that. It means basically that in the 90s and 2000s we collected lots of data, lots of information, but we didn't really have the technology to do anything with it. Whereas over the last 10 years, due to the advantage of Google, Apple, iPhones, and you name it, technology and information is much more easier to access. So which means we are now in a digital personalization age. We want control and choice, and we conduct the symphony of our lives through our digital connections. There's three hallmarks that we think are part of causing all of these changes over the last 5 to 10 years. The first one is the general explosion of self-service online shopping. We all buy lots of stuff online, whether it's on our mobile phone, whether it's from our tablet, or whether it's from our PC. We do lots and lots of shopping online, and we all know it because a lot of brick and mortar stores are disappearing. Amazon is conquering the world at a fast pace, and so do companies like Netflix. Our phones are now our windows of the world. As you can see on this picture, everybody's looking on their phone. If you walk through a city, if you walk through an office, wherever you are, many people are basically looking with their eyes on the little device called a phone these days that does much more than just being able to call somebody. Next. Our expectations of service have also changed dramatically. It's not that long ago that we expected service to be in person and that we had to go somewhere to get anything done. Today, lots of technology takes that over and makes it a lot easier to provide the same service. However, it's not personal anymore. It's not in person anymore, but it's still very personal. People, as you can see here on the airline check-in, and it's not that long ago that we had to go to a gate to check in. Today, we try to avoid that gate to check in. We either do it on our phones or we use these machines, kiosks that are doing that. So people that actually have responded to those changes that are happened over the last 10, 15 years have won. You know, if you look at Netflix, the explosion of self-service online shopping, you know, you can download movies, you can buy movies, you can watch movies, you can rent them. It's all online. You don't have to go anywhere anymore. It's all there for you. Not that long ago, they also had shops where you had to go and buy these movies. Our phones are now our windows of the world. Apple has certainly taken great advantage of that and has also learned us and taught us a lot of things about what can be done with a smartphone. And then, you know, the infrastructure of the app world around it has enabled so many different functions on that phone that it's hard to believe, hard to, you know, assume that it will be there in the future. Our expectations of service have changed. Uber is a great example. You know, they have basically moved calling a taxi to the smartphone in its entirety. Losers have not. Basically what that means is those people that have not responded to these changes that happened over the last 10, 15 years have lost out. Blockbuster, a very large video chain in the United States, you used to be on the corner of pretty much every street, is gone, no longer exists. BlackBerry was the leader of email phones and in beginning smartphones, no longer exists because it didn't move along with the touchscreen and the other things that could be done with the phone. And now you see Uber, Lyft, and other car service companies that are pretty much working very hard to try and make taxis a thing of the past and move them all to Uber. So it shows that you got to keep an eye on trends. You got to make sure that you can move along. Otherwise, there's a risk that you either lose revenue or potentially even lose customers as a whole. Next. The same, I think, applies to hospitality. Things are changing there too. There's an explosion of innovative new hotel concepts. This is an example you see at Zoko Amsterdam, where the lobby is no longer a simple place where there's a front desk, but now the lobby is the restaurant, is the social area. It's also the place where people check in, check out, and the people that work in the hotel no longer are just front desk agents or they are waiters. They actually are both and are basically hosting the guest on an ongoing basis. Many more of these concepts are appearing left and right. Marriott is trying to come up with new concepts. IHG is trying to do that. Yotel has new concepts. There's so many different things going on that are different than hotels used to be. For example, in New York right now, Ian Schrager is opening a new hotel very shortly that will not have a front desk. So it's a very nice, beautiful hotel. No front desk. The only way to get in is through mobile check-in or through self-service check-in. Another thing that's, I think, really changed in hotels is the classifications. Hotel classifications are much less relevant than they used to be. We used to be able to go to a hotel and select it based on the star qualification, whether it's 2, 3, 4, or 5 star. Today, people don't really look at that anymore. They really look at the online reviews that are there from TripAdvisor or Yelp or Expedia, and only based on those they try to book a hotel. It's not important to them anymore whether it's a 2, 3, 4, or 5 star hotel. What's important is the reviews it gets as well as the amenities it offers. The popularity of Airbnb, I think, has put a lot of hotels or other companies to put in thinking mode, because Airbnb has really taken advantage of the digital components that are available right now, the phone, of the internet, and they also have done a great job in combining digital personal experience with, if need be, as you can see in this picture, a personal experience whereby the owner of the apartment actually meets the guest. So these things combined are really creating new change. Why is this happening? Today's guests, and all of us, I think, care less about traditional service. They care more about convenience and control. The guest wants to be in control. You want to be more and more in control. You think it's much easier to buy something online because you're fully in control of that. And the same applies to a guest that potentially goes to one of your hotels. How do we prove that? Well, over the last years, there's a 50% increase year over year in mobile bookings. So the people that book their reservation on a mobile phone is vastly increasing, which requires you to have mobile-enabled, mobile-optimized websites, as an example. 73% of the business travelers prefer mobile check-in, even if it doesn't necessarily mean right away getting the key. It does basically, they like it because it does speed up the way people check in, and it removes the administrative transaction from the hotel's experience. Next. I think one of the most important stats that we have here is this one, which is that 72% of consumers have a more positive view of the company if it provides a mobile service experience. So this is not just hotels, this is in general, and you can really see this with things like Uber. You can see with the airlines where the apps are doing really well. You can see it in the consuming other components out there, online ordering, Uber. All these things are really done around a mobile component. And people just like that these days because, again, they're going to be in full control. So how will you give guests what they want? You probably need a better way to serve, or you need a new way and better way to hotel. So in today's competitive market, delivering memorable guest experience requires a platform that will allow you to innovate. And I think the key is innovate, because you need to be able to change and add or change services and the way you operate and interact with guests on an ongoing basis, which requires a very innovative platform. You need, in essence, a mobile PMS. Transformation is key. Our world has changed, and as hoteliers, we need to change too. You really need to think about, what did I do the last 10 years? What did I do well? What did I not do well? And how can I, over the next 10 years, grow and make sure that I'm ahead of the game, or at least follow the game? It's, going back to the winners and the losers. You want to make sure you become a winner, so you want to be aware of change and adapt to that change. Transformation, you need to give your guests what they want. I think that's really important. Going back to that guests these days, they don't want to just do what you want them to do and therefore go to the front desk and then wait in line to be checked in. They want to be in control, so they want to have the capability to do that at their own pace, on their own device, the way they want to do it. So that could be mobile check-in, that could be mobile check-out. That provides you also with a good way to communicate. Some guests want low touch, some want high touch. It should really be up to them. You know, if a guest wants to do mobile check-in, they should do that. If they want to check in from a self-service device, then they should be able to do that. If they want to meet somebody at the front desk to get checked in or checked out, they should be able to do that. It's as long as they can be in control and feel that they are deciding on how they experience your service, I think they're going to be in a good place. Transformation also relates to empowering your staff. Your staff today works to a large extent very away from the system. They have to make decisions and they have to alter the system. They have to make changes to the guest or check in or book a reservation at a desk, either at the front desk or in the back of the house or in the housekeeping area, but it can't be with the guest. They're always away from the guest. If you have a mobile PMS, you can actually bring all of that with you and you can here and there deal with those guest requirements. So staff is much more empowered, can interact much better with the guests at the same time, and it lets also staff instantly record and respond to guest requests. Hoteliers need to stay ahead of the curve. I think that's going to be really important going forward. There is so much competition now there around brands, around OTAs. Today I read an article about in Hotel Interactive about independent hotels, some hotels moving away from brands because of the internet. Selling themselves is much easier than it used to be, but it also requires a lot more different thinking about, you know, how do I get that hotel in the forefront in the world of internet, and how do I make sure my hotel gets sold and not someone else's. So the cloud is going to play a very important role in that. The cloud is the future, and it's embracing the paramount ensuring success for you. You need to make sure you take it on. You need to make sure you do something with the cloud. You need to make sure that you can therefore innovate and move forward. You want to stay ahead. If you invest in a cloud-based mobile solution that never fails and easily upgrade, you can stay ahead. You don't have to worry about the software going with the future. You don't have to worry about it running all the time. Another important part is also it lets employees use the mobile device. You know, a cloud solution connects to the internet. You can connect any device to it. You don't have the structure anymore that you have in your physical basement where you would have the old PMS sitting. It's very open. It's very easy to provide on any device, whether you provide the device to your staff or whether you tell your staff to use their own device to assist and do work. Make sure to properly integrate with other systems and enhance performance. And I think that's also a very important thing. Over the last 10, 20 years, there's so many interfaces that have been built, but the actual implementation of those interfaces and the ability to make full use of all of those applications is very difficult. It's a very time-consuming effort. It's costly as also for you. If you wanted to change from one to another revenue management system, you really had to bring somebody in to set up to break down the old one, to set up the new one, connect it all, do some training and get it going. When you have cloud-to-cloud solutions, all that kind of goes away. The training is all done remotely. The setup is already in place because these cloud-to-cloud solutions are connected by default to each other. Again, hence the word cloud. It's one big hospitality cloud. Invest in solutions that enable managers to operate and keep tabs on the hotel remotely. Not telling you that you want to be online 24/7, but sometimes you have to make decisions away from your desk or away from the hotel while you're doing something else, or maybe you're on sales conference or whatsoever. You need to be able to access the PMS at any given time. Today, it's a very fast world. Changing a rate the next day can be too late for getting the right people coming into your hotel. Offer the most amazing guest experience. I think that's obviously what it's all about. If you buy technology, make sure that it can provide you with the tools to provide an awesome and amazing guest experience. Hoteliers need to offer the guest an exceptional experience in the age of experiential hospitality. It's all about experience right now. It's no longer about just preferences. It's really about how do I experience this, which I think leads back to the changing and innovative way of new hotel concepts. Everybody's looking to differentiate themselves in their hotels. They want to make sure that certain people experience the hotel in such a way that they're coming back. And if I go back to the Zoku in Amsterdam, I was there last week. It's just a very nice experience to go there. If you go to a hotel, it's just different, and therefore it's, in general speaking, a very nice experience as an example. The experience, when front and back office communicate effectively, good things happen. And I think this is a great advantage of having a mobile PMS. If the mobile PMS has devices managed between actually staff, guests, and back of house people, front and back of house people, then things can go much faster. As an example, if I'm a guest and I'm checking in on my mobile phone, then I need a room. If the room is not available, I can't necessarily check in, or I'm being put on hold. However, if the guest that's checking out on the same day can do that on his mobile device as well, and the moment that guest checks out, housekeeping gets an alert that that room is now checked out and can clean that room, the housekeeper can also use their mobile device to set that room to clean and therefore give it to the next guest checking in at a much faster pace. Another interesting component that we've noticed with most of our customers that use our mobile checkout, we've seen a dramatic increase of people actually checking out. And actually checking out itself, as definitely in the United States, is already a big problem to get hotels, to get guests to do that, because generally speaking, they can just leave the day and they'll be done with it, which means then you have to go up to the rooms, verify whether they're gone or not. Now with mobile check-in, getting that email or getting a notification, they just click 2 buttons, they're checked out, you know what to do, start cleaning the room, and so on. So you're providing a better experience, and you make the experience for the next guest even more seamless and better. Offer your guests instant upgrade and let them choose optional add-ons, including early and late departure, early check-in and late departure. I think it's very important that you can really offer those things on a device, whether you do show that on a device of the guest or whether you show it on a device that you actually present to the guest at in the lobby at check-in. When you make it visual, when you make it digital, and when you make it linked to what they used to do or what they like, it just becomes a very easy click for that guest to particularly buy that. It's also a great experience because, again, they're in control. They see a nice, simple offer, they like it, and they can buy it, and they're not being hustled to buy it. They're just getting a very simple, friendly picture with a price, and they buy it. Next. Proof. So we have some proof of all of those things. We have introduced ourselves a mobile PMS about 2 years ago now, and a mobile PMS to us means that it's entirely running on the tablet. You can see that hoteliers, this one for example, Daniel Tennant, general manager at our Hotel Rington in New York, was looking to change the way he wanted to do things. So basically looking to see, he's seeing that the world's changing and he wants to make a change. They were struggling with their old PMS at check-in and check-out because the screens were very difficult to use. The front desk agents were basically facing the computers rather than the guest, which most guests don't really appreciate that, and it makes the process very long. So with a mobile PMS and a cloud solution that's designed for, based on today's software requirements, things became a lot easier. Training was almost a thing of the past. And the staff, the front desk staff, is basically either going away from the front desk, but can now operate and communicate with the guest while checking somebody in or out without having to constantly look at the screens. What's also very important for Daniel was that he was able to look at his hotel wherever he was. He's also the sales manager of the hotel, or also helps selling the hotel, so he's away from time to time. And then it's very nice to have, the revenue and the occupancy right there on your fingertip for you in order for you to make changes. Another example, and this one is, I think, also key because, as you can see in the last sentence, it's all about complete freedom of choice. That's what this hotel chain is looking for. This is a small hotel chain in Holland, 3 hotels we have live with them, Conscious Hotels in Amsterdam. They wanted a system that would allow them to provide the way, to put the guest in full control and allow the guest to either do self-service or be checked in through a front desk. They got that with the mobile PMS, and they feel they've been very successful with that. In fact, actually 90% of the guests that check into that hotel do it through a self-service method, whether that is a smartphone or whether that's in the lobby through a self-service check-in. Another important thing to stay ahead of the curve and to enable yourself to to accommodate change at any given time is that cloud software, mobile software is updated on a very regular basis. So you don't have to wait for years to get stuff happening. You don't have to fly somebody in to upgrade the software for you because all of that happens automatically. While you're sleeping, cloud-based PMS systems are updated on a regular basis with new features that you may or may not want to use at any given time, but at least it allows you to stay ahead of the curve. So to summarize, a mobile-enabled guest-centric PMS delivers the features that today's guests expect and evolves to meet the demands of the future. So, you know, I'm talking about the guest here because I think that's what it's all about. If you have a happy guest, if you can provide technology to serve that guest well, then everything in the back end is, you know, becomes all of a sudden slightly less important because you can, you know, you're doing what you need to do, which is serving guests at the right, you know, quality. So what is a mobile PMS? To summarize it again, you know, your next PMS should kind of look like your iPhone or your Android phone. It's a phone. You know, it comes preloaded with lots of killer apps: mobile check-in, mobile check-out. It has lots of integration included. It's very easy to connect to that. New features are offered on a regular basis. It's very easy to use. It should be very easy to maintain. In fact, you shouldn't have to worry about the maintenance of it. The cloud provider will do all of that for you. And most importantly, or very importantly, it should always fit in the back pocket, in your back pocket.
All right, thank you so much, Jos, for that presentation. Certainly a lot of good insight there. And I want to turn it over to our audience. I have a few questions here. Hopefully you can answer those questions to the best of your ability. First one being, is it necessary to have a mobile app, or what type of mobile solutions are you talking about?
That's a very good question. So the mobile app, if you actually talk a physical app that you have to download from either the App Store or the Google Marketplace, is not something you necessarily need. I think what's really important is that you are mobile through mobile web HTML, because a lot of guests, a lot of people that travel a lot are not in a position to download for every stay they are going an app. What they are not, you know, what they do like and don't mind is getting an email that says check in and check out, and then are linked to a you know, to a set of pages that does the entire check-in, check-out. So I would say if you're not, you know, if your mobile strategy is just starting, start with mobile web because it's easy accessible. It removes a lot of hurdles and roadblocks for a guest to get connected to you. If you have a clear understanding of a brand and you have multiple hotels, then an app may also be a solution. But you know, in looking at the world out there, each of the big hotel chains have an app, but if you look at the number of downloads of that app, it's really per hotel very minimal. So you should really, I think, if you go mobile, focus on mobile web without an app.
All right, so next question. I'm struggling gathering emails at my hotel. From your experience, how effective is having a mobile app or a mobile solution in gathering emails?
I think, you know, first of all, I think the gathering of emails is not always easy, but I think the way to address it is if you add, you know, if you make sure that the PMS that you have asks every time they interact with the guest for their email, if it's not there, that will definitely help you in getting email at the point of check-in and the point of check-out. We also have, you know, our solution can also be activated without an email, so you can put it on your website. You can put it on places in the lobby where you are, and when people actually go through a check-in process on their own on a device, you can at some point ask them for an email just to ensure that they get the folio or the bill at checkout, and that really helps in collecting more emails. But it does require some due diligence on your side as well. You need to make sure that you stay on top of that in order to get those emails.
Okay. Last question being, how do you balance giving guests control and still maintaining the standard of service that we're used to in the hotel industry?
Well, that's a very big question, I think. You know, I think it's all about choice of service. I go to many hotels. You probably all, as a hotelier, go to many other hotels. Some hotels serve better than others. It also depends on your personal mood and what you really want at that point in time. So I think it's all about offering choice of service. You need to find the right balance, and you need to allow those people that don't want to necessarily talk to somebody at check-in that's then looking at a computer screen most of the time, and allow them to do their own check-in at their own pace on their own device. But you know, on the other hand, you can also provide people to come to the front desk and do the check-in for them. What we see, if I look at our install base that we have out there now, we're just approaching the 200 hotels here in the United States. Of the 1 million check-ins we did last year, about 66% of those were done through a self-service effort. That either means through a mobile check-in or through a self-service check-in in the lobby. So it shows, and this is amongst a very large range of hotels, from MGM to small boutique hotels. But it shows you that I think at that percentage, 66% offering or choosing one of those mobile check-in or self-service check-in solutions, it really shows that the world is changing, and that, you know, doing that self-service check-in is not necessarily bad service. It's actually associated with good service, as you saw fairly early on in this presentation. Hope that helps.
All right. Well, thank you again for all your insight, Jas. We appreciate it. And I want to thank our audience for jumping on and sticking with us. I see that most of you guys sticked on. So hopefully you got a good bit of advice and some good content to walk away with. Just want to let you know that the recording will be available within 24 hours. So we'll send out those follow-up emails. And if you have any additional questions, please send them over to freewani@stayintouch.com. Might be hard to or difficult to pronounce, but it's right there for you. Again, thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.